Hello, welcome back to another episode of Mac and D. As always, I'm joined by James, Donkey Kong Bonanza. How you doing, James?
Throwing barrels off of a tower.
The best way to be. I want to start off by saying congratulations on your new job, James. Apparently, you are now an air traffic controller at the Denver airport.
Hmm
Very happy for you. You interviewed last night in your sleep.
hmm
They got your resume. It was blank, and they're like, "You
So
want
I
to be in the
was,
job."
yeah, I was scrolling through the business TikTok of the world, and everyone said you got to be willing to do what others aren't. So I'm willing to work for free, and others are not, and that's why I was able to get that job.
It's the ultimate internship, man. So I just want to say congratulations to you on that. They're taking just about anybody, but that's still incredibly prestigious at the end of the day. So, yeah, I don't know about you. I'm not going to be flying anywhere anytime soon, especially with the delays. It does not seem worth it. How was your
I'm
airport
glad my
experience this
Tampa
week?
trip went off without a hitch.
Feels like a miracle, right? I mean, like you
Mhm.
left St. Louis, you left Tampa. It feels pretty easy.
Yeah, both times easy peasy.
Yeah, it does not feel like you should push your luck on that. And it's like all throughout until they get this figured out. I'm glad that I'm not in Houston anymore, for example, because I'm like, I would not want to be having to fly here for the holidays because that sounds
hmm
hellish here in the next few weeks. Speaking of hellish, scars this week, not looking great. A lot of incredibly nasty, nasty injuries going down around the league. Starting with the Chargers, man. What is it with the Chargers and offensive linemen that just can't seem to stay healthy? Joe Alt like ripped his ankle in shreds out for the season.
Yeah, that team might just be cursed. Like I would never want to play tackle for the Chargers.
Yeah, between him and Slater, all the guys that they draft highly and are promising and play incredibly well whenever they're actually healthy, just seem to go down. Um, we're also going to talk about some trades here, and I feel like the Chargers did the smart thing. They were just like, we need a warm body. We don't care if that warm body is going to have 15 holding penalties in a game. They trade for Trevor Penning from the New Orleans Saints in order to kind of fill that gap a little bit. But yeah, that was not a fun one. That wasn't like quite Camp Scatterboo level, but like it still definitely was not good. The other incredibly nasty injury that we had was from Jane Daniels. Had that nasty dislocated elbow with 8 minutes left in the fourth
Dude, that was
quarter.
gross.
Yeah, just got completely rolled out from over, and it just was just completely wrenched back. And that's on the tail of Jane Daniels already kind of having some nasty elbow things happen in the past. This was definitely not related to any previous injury. Nothing could have caused this to happen. But it was just like, how does this keep happening to him? Just strictly on the elbow and on his throwing arm. Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to be out. I mean, this got to be almost rest of season, right?
I would think so. I mean, we'll say it later, my takeaways, but I was just like, they just need to shut it down. They cannot have this turn into RG 3.0.1, if you will. They really should probably just call it good for the season.
Yeah. If you were in Dan Quinn's shoes, what would you have done? Would you have pulled him earlier?
I was texting you about that. I'm like, I don't know why he's in. It's 38-7. Like, they're not winning this game. This dude's kind of banged up as is. Like, he at very least shouldn't be running zone reads. Like, dude, get this guy out of the game.
Yeah, especially on the goal line too. Like if it's like at the 20-yard line and you're still got the length of field to go, but it's like you got running backs that can just, you can just throw at the problem a little bit that are a little bit more replaceable if they go down. And Jane Daniels is already banged up, so it's kind of like And yeah, I hate it too. What's the point differential got to be at 8 minutes for you to still be like, hey, Jane Daniels, he's at the goal line, you're keeping him in?
I'm not sure. I really don't. That's a good question. I don't know.
I'm thinking like you score every like 3 minutes if you're getting stops, if you're actually like stopping them on that first initial set of downs. So it's like 8 minutes left. Probably a three-score game is what you need to get it to. Um, or you need to have it at a three-score game. So like I'm thinking like a 21 point lead or something like that. But like, yeah, like you're saying, a 31-point game. It's like, geez, that's just a tough sell all the way around.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, Other injury updates that we had going on around the league. Marion Hampton's going to be out at least through the week 12 bye, James. That is like 2 weeks left of the fantasy season, realistically, depending on what your league does. That is brutal for any Hampton owners out there.
Yeah, I mean, you drafted him early, right? Like This one's just tough because it was one of those classic like, man, we're gonna take it easy, maybe 1 or 2 weeks, he's gonna be back. So everyone's just like, okay, 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 and all of a sudden just like he's not playing the rest of the
Yeah, it feels like teams are doing it worse and worse this year with like actually giving designations of like how long some of these timelines are going to be. Whether it's Terry McLaurin basically being out for the entire season, he pops back in, he pops back out, or a JJ McCarthy taking forever to get back. It feels like these timelines are just way off. And obviously there's like that scandal that they had with the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. It feels like they are just not being very upfront with what the initial injury is, and then all of a sudden it's like it just drags on and on and on. Luckily, Kamani Vidal has been playing pretty well. Didn't have the best game this past week, but they are going to definitely need some reinforcements out in Los Angeles.
season.
Kyler Murray, your favorite player of all time at this point, he's going to IR. Same thing. It's like, hey, he's going to be back. He might be able to run some scout team. He could be the emergency quarterback, and now he lands on IR. What was your takeaway here?
I don't know why they didn't do it in the first place. I'm fine with him being on IR. I hate the way Gannon handled the whole situation. Like it just every week he was like wishy washy. Oh, Kyler's our guy. Don't worry. It's like actually, we like Jacoby better. Well, no, we like Jacoby better because Kyler's injured, and well, actually, we're going to start Jacoby no matter what. But oh, he's fine. Like we're gonna put him on IR though. Yeah, like he just kept like backtracking, realizing he was just tanking the value of this human being, and then was like, "Well, we don't want him obviously next year, but we're gonna save face and say, well, no, he was already on IR. I just misspoke." It is just like, dude, just put him on IR and just say, "Yep, unfortunately, he was hurt. Nothing we can do about it."
Yeah, and this has always been the complaint with Gannon. It's just he's just awkward. He just doesn't really seem to understand the like normal status quo of just being upfront and being a man about some of this stuff, right? And so the Kyler Murray stuff is frustrating from an Arizona standpoint, where it's like you're hurting his trade value publicly by like
Mhm.
having him be in and out, ineffective. No, it doesn't really look like he wants to play based off the way that they're handling it. So it's like that's probably not the case internally. Like they probably know differently, but that's really hard to be able to express to the other 31 teams that could potentially be wanting to trade for him because it seems like definitely his time in Arizona is it's almost over. It's dwindling in any case. So I keep comparing this to the Jared Goff situation where Sean McVay really, really soured with Jared Goff. I don't know if it's him souring on Jared Goff or their relationship souring. Just the whole situation kind of fell apart. But still, I mean, even after that, Jared Goff got benched in a playoff
Mhm.
game for John Wolford, and they still were able to get pretty good value out of Jared Goff. Obviously, they got Matthew Stafford, and they won a Super Bowl out on the back of that. So I don't really know what the trade market looks for Kyler Murray. I mean, there's obviously still going to be teams that are going to be looking for an upgrade at quarterback and feel like that they can do better with him, or maybe he just goes play baseball. Nobody really knows at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Call of
No.
Duty just
Right.
came out. Lowest hanging fruit joke of all time. Other nasty, nasty injury that happened. CJ Stroud got thrown into the ground and ended up getting a concussion. It was announced officially yesterday by D'Amico Ryans that he is going to be missing this upcoming game. Davis Mills time, man. It's time for some long neck, baby.
Time for that neck.
I like Davis Mills. I mean, he's not bad. He's a serviceable backup, at the end of
He's
the day.
not
His
good.
in his last start I was reading, I forgot about this. This was back in 2023 and he was starting in a January game. It is the last game of the season. And because Davis Mills went out and balled out, he had 3 touchdowns in that game. It dropped them from the first pick to the second pick, and that allowed them to go from Bryce Young to CJ Stroud instead from one to
He,
two.
good dude. He's a good dude.
He does the job, man. I don't hate him, but I will be starting him in some emergency situations in fantasy this week, which feels pretty bad. And then lastly, on the back of having his brother traded away from the team, Quincy Williams for the New York Jets, losing his starting job. This is a guy who is an all pro. I think it was back in 2023, like literally yesterday, best at his position as a linebacker. And now he's just getting benched. Dude, how happy are you to watch this implosion of the New York Jets?
Um, at a certain point, it's just like you're making fun of the school of the blind. Like this poor team has just been just absolutely abused by the ebbs and flows of time. You almost just feel bad for Jets fans a little bit, but it is actually pretty funny as a Patriots fan.
Yeah. I saw an article today that was kind of just like rating all of the perpetual teams that are always just like in the lottery. Like they're not actually ever really competing for playoff spots, even whenever they like are all in. And like Jets were top of the list because it's like, geez, since that magical back-to-back AFC East or AFC Championship appearances back in like 2010, 2011, they haven't done a diddly squat since then.
Yep.
Incredibly
Bring Rex
painful to
Ryan back,
watch.
dude.
Absolutely. Any other scars? Any other injuries that I missed?
Off the top of my head, no. That doesn't mean
Definitely,
that's the case.
yeah, definitely not a healthy week for the NFL. Going over to bars in our scars and bars section, I got two bars for you, James.
Huh?
First one about your boy, Pat Bryant. This is Sean Payton when he was asked about Pat Bryant already being a good blocking wide receiver. And Sean Payton, his coach, said, if they don't bite when they're puppies, they generally never do. And I was like, damn. I'm not a big quote guy in general. We do have this bars section here, which I love now. But it's like that's some old head, old man wisdom right there. It's like as you get older, you really do just kind of end up having the best lines. I love that one so much.
Yeah, absolutely just getting smacked with knowledge on that one.
Yeah, I was like, damn, Pat Bryant already getting shouted out by the coach, and especially for rookie wide receivers, it's like it can kind of be tough to be, really enforcing as a blocker. So definitely impressive and good for the sake of his long term career. Second one I have here is from Rico Dowdle. And this is a little bit better documented, but it's really funny that he was talking about it. He scored a touchdown this past week in their upset win over the Green Bay Packers. And Rico Dowdle, after the game, is talking about celebration. And he says, from my understanding and everything I've learned, we go over stuff like this every week in the meeting room. I definitely think you're supposed to get two pumps. Hopefully, I don't get a fine. Spoiler alert, he did get a fine.
Dude, that's absolutely absurd. Everyone knows 3 pumps is too many, 2 pumps is the perfect number. I think the funniest part of this is everyone on the team's like, no, no, it was two, like no penalty. What are we doing?
Yeah.
And I
Like
think Key and Peele need to come out of retirement and make a skit about this exact moment.
I feel like Jordan Peele just needs to direct a horror movie about this exact situation where it's like the two pumps that gets penalized and just make it all about like umpires. You could have like a union angle and everything. Let's get on a script. It's time to start writing. I just love that Rico talked about this in the meeting room. It's like what a great way to spend time. Very valuable time that you have with the rest of your team is let's talk about the celebrations in the meeting room. I was cracking up at that.
Hey man, you gotta do what you gotta do.
And then Jay, you threw one in here. What's your bar of the week?
Yeah, and I got the quote a little bit wrong. I wish Spencer were here for me, but basically, the past 3 weeks, the media is just like, "Hey, Aaron Glenn, like, what are you doing about the quarterback situation, man? Who's your starter?" And he's just like, "No strategic advantage." Like the thing is, like, he doesn't want to give an advantage to the team he's playing. Everyone's like, "Yeah, but dude, you guys suck. Like, isn't it better for the confidence of your quarterback to publicly say that's your guy?" And he's just like, "No strategic advantage." And then someone's like, "Okay, Aaron, what's the advantage that you're talking about at this point?" He just goes, "It's in my mind."
That's
Like,
incredible.
thanks, Aaron Glenn. You're 1-7. Congratulations, bud.
Oh my gosh. Dude is incredibly quotable. Shout out Aaron Glenn. I think that the handing out of the Bibles before the season really, changed their season in a lot of ways. Poor New York Jets. All right, James, we don't got to recap every game. I definitely want to get into looking over the trade deadline because this is an incredibly active trade deadline. Give me your top three games from this past week, just one at a time that you want to recap.
So Steelers over Colts because I wonder if we're going to start seeing turnover Danny versus Danny Dimes, right? So is this the real Danny or is this a blip in the radar?
That was
I think Colts fans are really hoping it's just a blip.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of crazy to see just completely going back to the old Danny Dimes in so many ways. I mean, the six Colts turnovers is what lost them the game. I mean, they were in this game. I watched a majority of this one because it's our local market game. And it was like, it never really felt like the Colts were all that out of it, even going into the fourth quarter, because it was only like a 7 point or a 14
Dude,
point
the Steelers
deficit.
refuse to bury teams. They
Yeah.
can only win one score games.
And that's why Boswell is such a damn good fantasy kicker in so many ways. But six Colts
Mhm.
turnovers, three interceptions by Danny Dimes, two lost fumbles from Danny Dimes. That is an impossible thing to ever come back from. And then they were still kind of in the game. It was like Jared Goff getting his five turnover game last year against the Houston Texans. And it's like sometimes if the other team's fucking up so much, like the Steelers were this past week, then you can still kind of find yourself in some of those games. I kind of came away more impressed by the Colts because of their ability to stay in it despite the
Mhm.
forces of nature, the forces of Danny Dimes. But geez, that was a very, very
Yeah.
tough one. And way to get smacked in the face after such a storybook start.
Yeah. So the other one would be Panthers over Packers. Like the Packers are the ultimate play down to your competition team. That as long as they get in the playoffs, they're going to be a hard out. But man, they refuse to just be better than bad teams.
Yeah, I kind of thought the exact same thing, but I was also on the inverse, where it's like, hey, the Panthers, they might fuck around and get a playoff spot here at the end of the day. We have Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard just passing like ships in the night. We have Dowdle just all the way up, and we got Hubbard completely falling off and becoming irrelevant despite an awesome season last year. Dowdle is top five in the league right now in rushing yards. It's incredibly impressive.
Off of what, like three performances, right?
He's only been the starter for like 3 weeks. It's insane. I love it for him. And after getting disrespected by the Dallas Cowboys, obviously the Cowboys are also good with Javonte Williams. I really love it for him. Derek Brown is playing like a defensive player of the year candidate. If Miles Garrett didn't exist, it's been a really, really fun year for the Panthers, despite all the terrors.
There's been so many ups and downs. Right? Like they got absolutely blasted by the Patriots, but they beat the Falcons like 34 nothing, right? There's just really fun swings. This team has to be tough to cheer for because you really don't know what you're getting week in and week out. But I mean, I'm with you. I just enjoy the ride, I guess, for now.
Yeah, and Tet's fun. If they could get Bryce to like actually be decent and maybe it's just a little bit better receiver play outside of
Kyler
Tet.
Murray, future Carolina Panther.
You look good in that blue, man. I'm not gonna lie. What's the third game you want to highlight?
Whew. I mean, we kind of already talked about it a bit, but I think we have to hit it. Sunday Night Football was just bad, right?
Yeah.
Washington, I really, really think needs to shut it down. I mean, I think you just call it a wash of a season. I'm surprised they didn't try to like ship anyone at the trade deadline or something. It's bad there, dude.
Yeah, it's definitely getting ugly, and I mean, I can't say that I'm upset about it though. Like they ended our
I know this
season
is your
last year.
prediction, so you're taking your victory lap.
I'm just like, I freaking hate the command. The it's not even anything Commanders fans did because like they don't really exist, but it was like all the people afterwards are just like, ha ha ha, the Commanders beat you. I was just like, yes, they absolutely did. We did nothing right in that game, and they did everything right, and it was like all caps off to the Washington Commanders. But at the end of the day, they were fraudulent and their process was fraudulent. Like maybe with a fewer injuries for the Lions, like maybe something could have been different there. It's just so frustrating to have like the perfect season, like literally the one seed, and we still end up falling so flat in the playoffs. That was just a painful thing, and the Commanders did nothing wrong, but like I'll never be able to get that hate out of my heart just because of the way that it ended because of that. And they went out and signed every old player on the market and they've all gotten hurt and all been ineffective. And it's like, this is exactly what happens. I'm just shocked they didn't trade like Debo Samuel or something, at the deadline.
Yeah, there's plenty of options.
Kind of took me aback. On the other side, though, oh my God, the Seahawks, dude, they look like a
Sam Darnold
juggernaut.
looks very good.
What was that? I mean, Darnold up until he had that interception, and I don't even think that interception was all that bad. Is it midfield? And he was just kind of forcing it a little bit. He was playing better than pretty much any other quarterback has all season long in a singular
Dude,
game.
absolute dime. I mean, he's throwing like ropes into triple coverage that just the defense, even though it looked like triple coverage, like the defense truly had no shot at getting it. Just, I mean, tutty after tutty. It looked really impressive. He's been impressive the whole year.
Yeah, and I mean that was the thing exactly like you're talking about is like there's still throws that he has where it's like, oh my gosh, like I can make that throw because the system is still good in Seattle, right? It's very comparable to Minnesota last year, but Minnesota was like Darnold is a system quarterback. Like he is just running the Kevin O'Connell offense. And this year it's like, hey, he's making things off platform, he's doing things off schedule. Whenever the pressure is getting to him, he's staying upright and delivering throws quickly. It was an incredibly impressive performance. And I wouldn't even say that the Seattle like receiving core was all that awesome, especially with Cooper Cup out.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he's throwing balls to Tony Horton, Torrey Horton,
Torrey
right?
Horton, yep.
Rookie. AJ Barner's been playing really well. Obviously, Jason's going to get his 15 targets and just be a stud every week. But Other than Jason, it's cats you've never heard of catching the ball.
Yeah. And I mean, I think these are all solid players, exactly like you're talking about, but they're usually typically like, hey, we're running some
Right, but
13
they're not top
personnel.
level. It's not Jay Jetta. It's not, Jordan Addison, like these high level first round type picks. TJ Hawkinson, right? No, like Darnold had exclusively first round talent around him in Minnesota. So people are like, yeah, they're covering for him. And this year it's like, no, he's just throwing to cats in the same jersey and it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it helps when they got good looking jerseys like they're running right now too. Only 3.5 yards per carry this past week for the Seattle offense from
Kenneth
rushing the
Walker
ball
is a pain.
perspective. Yeah, they're not even getting any real run support, I feel like, and they're still just boating teams. It feels like Seattle is got to be the favorite on the NFC side for the Super Bowl right now, right?
Ooh, that's a good question. I
That
might still I might lean Rams.
I was seeing some like advanced statistics models sort of thing this past week is saying like that Seattle Buffalo matchup might end up being the most likely. They're calling it the Marshawn Lynch Bowl.
Interesting. Okay. That'd be a very fresh Super Bowl.
Yeah, I can't say that I hate it. And yeah, I mean, this is a very young Seattle team too, so it's like even if it's not this year, maybe it's in the future realistically.
Mhm.
Is that your third game?
That was my third game.
Okay, okay. What three do I want to highlight? I feel like the Bills over Chiefs game was like exciting, but it also felt like the Bills had kind of control throughout the entire thing. I wrote down here that the most impressive thing that I took away from that was how much better the Bills offense looks like whenever they're able to run that 12 personnel with both Kincaid
Hmm.
and Dawson Knox. It's like every other game, it feels like one or the two of them is out, right? Or maybe even potentially both. And it's like, it's crazy how much better they hum whenever both of them are healthy to be able to be that safety valve and that extra push for Josh Allen. They're a very impressive team on offense whenever they are both healthy.
Yeah, there was that Sunday Night Football graphic of like, oh, everyone's eating at this Buffalo Bills buffet, blah blah blah, whatever. And it's like, I think really what it comes down to is their tight ends are their deep threats. These are the guys doing deep crosses that linebackers just can't cover, and that's when they get their explosive plays. It's like to your point, they need those two because they become such a difficult match, and Kincaid is such a good you know, catcher of the football. And then Knox surprises you. He fakes his route where he had almost a touchdown. It was one of the best routes I've seen of just a fake block and just chop down the defender's hands and blew past him. Like, I mean, he's just wide open. When you have two tight ends that can run routes like that, I mean, it's just a cheat code.
Yeah. And I'm sure fantasy players don't forget, but like Dawson Knox had like a 800 yard receiving season as soon as like 2 years ago, So like they are both very, very capable receivers. So that was an impressive showing, and it probably should have been a better game, but like I feel like the Chiefs kind of let us down a little bit in that one. Probably the sloppiest game of the year, but also one of the most exciting was that Bears over Bengals game. Oh my gosh. So the Bears were down. Uh,
The Bengals were down 20 with
yeah,
three scores, and
the
it was like 2 minutes left.
Bears were up 14 with 2 minutes left. Excuse me.
Okay.
Thank you. And then we have the Bengals starting back, Joe Flacco doing literally everything he can, gets them ahead. And the Bengals defense just needs one freaking stop. And it's like, you could just slow them down and we're good to go.
Right. Dude,
I
not even a stop. They need one tackle inbounds,
yeah,
and the Bears have to rush a field goal.
exactly. And then you see Colson Loveland catch the ball, and it's like, it's at that field goal line, right? Where it's like, hey, this is the range you need to get to be able to kick a field goal realistically based off who your kicker is. Loveland catches it right at that line. You're like, okay, so the Bengals will get him down, and then like we'll have a tough field goal try, and we'll see what happens. It could still be cinema, but it could be a mess.
Mhm.
And then Loveland just keeps running and gets that last second touchdown. What an implosion from the Bengals!
Yeah, that defense is ass, dude. That might be one of the worst defenses we've ever seen play in the NFL.
Yeah, I kind of was just taken aback because it was just like score, 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 score. If you look at the win probability chart, you got the Bears way up here, then you got the
Yeah.
Bengals down here, and then you got the Bears right in the middle. Like, it's literally it just looks like a EKG of like the person with the worst heart of all time. It was so crazy. And then Jason, I'm surprised you didn't want to highlight the Patriots over Falcons game. That was kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
it was, dude. I think that this is the first one in this streak of wins where the Patriots really kind of lucked out. I'll take it, right? A win's a win. But man, that fumble by May right before half just shifted the entire momentum, and the Pats just never got it back somehow. Like that Falcons team is so bizarre. They're the streakiest NFL team, right? I mean, tale of two games, tale of two halves, whatever. Like the Falcons either are you destroy them by 40 or like they are the toughest out in the entire league.
Yeah. No, truly. And it felt like, it ended up stabilizing a little bit, especially with some garbage time, but like the Falcons were out rushing them. They had more total yards. They overall were just running the ball a little bit better. It was just like a really weird one-sided game until it wasn't. And then, yeah, like you said, it's like, hey, better teams just kind of win the game sometime. Um,
Mhm.
Drake London, incredibly impressive though in this game. He had a three touchdown game. He had a little hat trick going on. And dude, he has some of the strongest hands in all of the league. The way that he was able to high point a couple of those balls in the end zone, it's like I don't care who's guarding him. You would have to get like a 7 foot Wimby in order to block some of the
Right.
balls that were going his direction. And London was just catching all of them. It was
Yeah,
so
I wonder
impressive.
how much of the momentum shift was Gonza going out with I think it's a head injury. Like they checked him for concussion, pulled him. I wonder how much of it was our defense just really relies on Gonzo almost a little too much.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, great slate we had back in week 9. Very excited for the upcoming week 10. We got the Bucks and the Patriots, and
That's
probably
gonna be
the
a good
best game of the
barometer
weekend.
game. Yeah.
Yeah. How are you feeling going into that one?
I think it's gonna be pretty high scoring, right? Like every Bucks game seems to be shootout-esque, so we might see a lot of fantasy points coming out of that one. Um, I think as long as we protect the ball, we've got a good chance of winning. That's the kind of game again. The Bills game was a tough one. If we win this one, it's like all right, these Pats are for real. They're not just beating up you know lesser opponents.
Yeah, for sure. Patriots again, no respect. They're 2.5 point underdogs. Granted, it is a home game for the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are super beat up. Bucky didn't practice this past week, so it's like
I've seen Bucky is
realistically
out. I think it's gonna be Rashad White.
pain. And so yeah, it's like at the end of the day, it's like Buccaneers are incredibly well coached. It's obviously the Tom Brady Bowl. There's a lot of emotion going both sides, but I kind of feel like the Patriots can keep that momentum going, undefeated on the road this year.
Mhm.
Are there any players this past week? You obviously missed the waiver wire. You were coming back from Florida, no big deal. Are there any players that you picked up on the waiver wire that you're pretty excited about?
No, dude, I was because I was traveling for work, man. I didn't even get to like do waiver wire.
Oh,
I was too busy in Tampa scouting the Bucks, trying to figure out what I can do to help the Patriots win.
that's just smart,
Um,
man. Get you to
I mean,
Raymond
I think the
James.
big ones, right? Dude, some big ones were like if Loveland was somehow available, you feel pretty good. I actually already had Singletary on my team, so I think that might be someone people are trying to go after. Um, is it Washington on the Jaguars? So De'Ami Brown was like really getting fed with BTJ and but BTJ wasn't out yet. He's just been bad this year. But with Travis Hunter not getting any of those targets, De'Ami was looking really good. Gets hurt. Next thing you know, it's like PJ Washington or something just gets 20 targets the rest of the game and has a really good performance.
PJ Washington. You mean Parker Washington?
There we go. Parker Washington.
PJ Washington's the now point forward for the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh,
Fraud.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. What about on the cut candidates? Who are some of the guys that you're trying to get off your team?
I mean, at this point, like Calvin Ridley, you don't even care if he comes back from injury, right? Like that team's just so bad, you don't really want anything to do with him. So I mean, to me, it's like you're cutting Calvin. I think the iffy one is Kyler. Like I think this is just Jacoby's team now, right? So even if Kyler comes back off of IR, do you think he plays the rest of the season?
Hmm. I mean, realistically, probably not. And it's like I feel like in most leagues, most people are just running one quarterback, and you probably didn't even have Kyler on your team anymore at this point after missing a couple weeks because you just
If
can't
it's a
afford the
one
roster
QB league,
spot.
he's definitely not in your roster. I'm thinking super flex though. It's because it's harder, right? It's so hard to find quarterbacks that if he might come back, you keep him. But the team just looks better with Jacoby. I think Kyler's just not playing the rest of the year.
Yeah, I feel like most Kyler owners probably already had Jacoby just toiling away on their bench. So they're like, oh, yeah, let's just elevate him, throw Kyler in my IR spot and just move. But yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. I also threw Evan Ingram back on here. I know a lot of people picked him back up. He was over 50% ownership percentage, not worth being on your roster. He just doesn't get any play at this point. Matthew Golden, kind of the same way. Feels like every single week the Packers have somebody else goes off at wide receiver besides Matthew Golden, and he just doesn't really get invited to the party. And then also this week on the graphic, I threw Jacoby Myers, but that was pre-trade, and I don't know how to feel about it. He hasn't scored double-digit points in like 5 weeks. And like it's awesome that he gets five every single week because he just has a ton of targets, but he hasn't hit the end zone yet. And I'm not sure how much better I feel like he's going to be with T Law.
Yeah. I think the Jacoby Myers trade makes you more excited to have oh come on. I know his name. Who's the guy we were just talking about? The Raiders wide receiver,
Trey Tucker?
possibly been one at this point.
Trey Tucker?
Trey Tucker, thank you.
Yeah.
Thornton or Dante Thornton's name was popping, and I was like, I know it's not him, but like that name was just blending with Trey, and I could not get it straightened out.
Yeah. Thornton was the rookie that we really liked in preseason. And then
It hasn't touched the ball the whole year.
he was a healthy scratch this past week, James. Jack Beck was getting run over him, even though Beck is ass. So, like, yeah, weird situation. Do you think Pete Carroll finishes the season in Las Vegas?
He finishes the season, they might very quickly. They probably stick Pete. They might tell Gino, "Hey, thanks, but no thanks. We're going to go with a rookie or something," or keep Gino just to help bring a rookie along.
Yeah. You know who I was thinking of the other day, and I didn't realize this? Um, Christian Wilkins, the Raiders D tackle that they cut
Mhm.
earlier this season. He still hasn't signed with anybody. What did he do?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Because that was one I was like, I hope the Pats bring him in. Like that dude's pretty tough.
Maybe for like the last month or something, somebody brings him, but he's still not on a roster. He was getting 25 million a year. He's only in like year two of that contract. Isn't that
Jerry
crazy?
Jones, get him on the phone.
Yeah,
He
man,
collects defensive tackles like Infinity Stones.
they need him. They need him. Panic button. I threw this one at you. Alvin Kamara, man. Like he's just not really
Dude,
doing it for me this year.
he's uncuttable, but it's like, yeah, you're not. He might actually retire at the end of the season, but you're never drafting him again, right?
No, he has no serious competition. So I mean, it's still Devin Neal, who's just getting like a couple of yards, a couple of carries per game.
Yeah, they're
No
bad.
Kendrick Miller, just
Their
bad.
offense is bad, dude.
Saints bad, bad team list. DeAndre Swift, I also threw on here. Not necessarily like, oh yeah, I'm cutting Swift anytime soon or anything, but like he missed the game this past week, and Monongai went off, dude. Like
Yeah,
Monongai has like 100 fewer rushing yards than freaking Ashton
yeah.
Jeanty, and they're
So
both rookies.
let's take a pause button here. The Bengals freaking just gave up 47 points, right? Like it didn't matter who was running that ball; they were going to get an easy 100-yard game. Swift has, we'll say 150 if he's in Monongai's shoes for this game. Like Swift is, they already elevated him to healthy for the week. Like I don't think he panic. I think it might be the dreaded, which every backfield feels this way at this point, 50-50 backfield. But I think Swift will get some of those open in space type plays that Monongai might not get.
Yeah. And I can't blame the Bears. I mean, they got two hot hands. Just keep running them. But yeah, it's going to be a
Mhm.
tough spot for fancy owners. And I also threw Cole Kmet on here because I couldn't really think of a third person.
He was also hurt, I think.
Yeah.
He's like yeah.
But it's like, hey, I mean, if you have him in like a dynasty league or something like that, you feel real bad now because it's like, hey, Loveland is going to be the guy going forward, or at
Dude,
least
I
in
was
theory.
talking to Spencer yesterday. Like, is it just because it has affected us personally, or is this truly one of the most injury related? Like, it's like all the injuries are on the offense this year, is what it feels like. I mean, like big first round, second round names getting just axed early and often.
No, I agree. And I mean, usually we are hearing a lot of like top corner goes down, top D lineman goes down, but it's like I feel like we got a lot of those early, like Michael Parsons, his back stuff, and a lot of those guys are starting to get healthier now. So it really does feel like it's like skill position dudes this year that are really just falling left and right. It's
And
kind of
like, how many
painful.
backfields went from that guy? So, like the Cardinals, right? James Conner's getting all the run to the most ambiguous, disgusting backfield possible, right?
Yeah.
Um, Bears is turning into a gross one. The Patriots very quickly became gross. Like a lot of backfields are just
Washington.
gross. Yeah,
Yeah.
Washington's has been disgusting the whole year.
Yeah. It's either, the situation caused a gross backfield or it's like self-imposed like Seattle. And it's like, yeah, it's really hard to find those like true bell cow dudes. And if you got
Mhm.
one, you hold them tight like your loved ones. Trade deadline. What was the most interesting trade to you?
I mean, the Sauce one has to be the biggest one, right?
Yeah.
People are saying, "Oh, he's having a down year." It's like, yeah, he still has only given up like at most two catches a game. We can go get a corner, like a true number one corner. You just go get him.
Yeah.
So I like the move for Indy, and you got to offload Adonai Mitchell. Like that might be net positive for Indianapolis.
It was,
Um,
it was really funny how New York was just like, hey, former second rounder, we just don't want the Colts were just like, we don't want our second rounder. And then the Jets were like, yeah. Let them in. They have that name
I mean,
pedigree.
that's what you
Like,
have to do when you're the Jets, though. They're so devoid of talent. It's like, let's get these guys in
yeah.
hope something happens. Worst case, we cut them, and it's no harm, no foul.
Because they also did the same thing with the Cowboys trade, taking in Mozzie Smith. And Mozzie Smith, by all accounts, like you listen to anybody who is around that Dallas Cowboys team, they were like, Mozzie Smith was like ass from the beginning. If you look at the little thing on Sunday Night Football, you know the PFF rankings at the bottom, they ranked like 169 defensive linemen, and Mozzie Smith was 169 of 169. Like the dude
Okay.
is
All
just
right.
bad, and he always has been. I feel bad coming out of Michigan. Yeah, I agree. Sauce Gardner was the biggest one. Even like you're saying, a bad year for Sauce Gardner is still better than most corners. He's incredibly young.
Mhm.
Honestly, he can do a lot with that defensive backfield. I tweeted out that like one of the best defensive backfields in all of the NFL now. I feel like that they're going to have very good chemistry back there, and they were also a little bit banged up, so it was also coming from a position of need standpoint. So
Mhm.
really, really love that one. And then what do you think of the Quinnen Williams trade? Three-time Pro Bowler.
I don't get what the Cowboys are doing, but again, it makes sense for the Jets. Get like, because he is off his rookie deal, right?
Yeah, yeah. He just
Okay,
signed an
so at least
extension.
I guess at least you're not trading dudes on rookie deals, but yeah, just go get your picks and just hit the reset button. I think the real like I get why anyone would want Quentin Williams. I think the sneaky good trade was actually Philly getting Jalen Phillips
Yeah.
because Jalen Phillips, when healthy, is a very good pass rusher, and he's not gonna have to play the whole game, right? He's just gonna get to rotate in and get after the quarterback. I think that was a sneaky good grab by Philly.
Yeah.
So
No, not to cut you
the,
off.
the rich just get richer, it seems.
Yeah, yeah. Not to cut you off, but like I think you make a really excellent point where it's like the Jets capitalized on their guys at like the peak of their value. Like Sauce Gardner just signed an extension. It hasn't even kicked in yet. And they trade him for two first round picks. And then same thing with Quentin Williams. Like you're probably not getting any better value, a first and a third. Like that's crazy for a defensive lineman also making a crap ton of money. And then the opposite, exactly like you're talking about, where it's like, hey, Jalen Phillips going from the Dolphins to the Eagles, he's having a down year, not doing too much, been banged up, injury prone, and everything like that. We thought Bradley Chubb might get traded too. And the Dolphins were not operating from a position of strength, only get a third round pick for him. So it's like, it's really just like looking at the full context. It can really change how you feel about some of these trades. How about Rashid Shaheed to Seattle?
I love it for Seattle.
Yeah.
That's the one thing they don't have, right? Like JSN's an amazing, just all around receiver, but Rashid Shaheed brings a different level. He's going to open things up for everybody else.
Yeah.
He could play this week, and they're just like, dude, you're going to run 25 deep routes, just fucking sprint, and you just get after it, like, and it'll make their offense better.
And he actually is someone who can get him the ball because like, I mean, like Derek Carr, his arm strength was sapped. Let's be real. I Shuck ain't getting him the ball. Spencer Rattler ain't getting him the ball. So like actually having an accurate downfield thrower, that's gonna be huge. The only thing I don't like about this trade, James, I think it kind of hurts JSN's ability to potentially break the receiving yard record because JSN
I
right
don't
now is
think
on
it
pace
does,
for
dude.
2,000.
I don't think it does. I think it's their offense is just going to be better.
I feel like they're going to vary the ball around a little bit more. You're going to get a little more to Cooper Cup. They're going to get to Sheed. And then, like, I just want to see Jason break it. I think it'd be so cool. He's such a cool receiver.
Yeah.
That's got to be an underrated storyline, right? Like, I feel like nobody's talking about the fact that JSN right now is like on pace, and we're like halfway through the year. Like, it's a long enough time where it's like, hey, we need to be paying attention.
Yeah, I mean, fantasy owners know, but it's definitely not a theme on the like Sunday Night Football. Are not talking about it. It it's not reaching the analysts for some reason. They're too busy talking Allen versus Mahomes or Drake May, etc. It's like no, dude, JSN's popping off.
Yeah, I hope he has a game like he did in the Rose Bowl, where it's like 350 receiving yards, just like break some really big time single game records or
It'll be
something
fun
like
to
that.
see,
Yeah, I love that guy. He's such a fun player. Alrighty, that is our show, and we will see you all next week
dude. We are incredible at hitting the perfect time.
on time.
Yep. See everybody.